a blog.
What is it?
It is a podcast that goes on YouTube.
And what are we doing?
An 8-year-old reviews.
An 8-year-old reviews. What are we reviewing today, 8-year-old?
Star Trek Picard number 2. I forgot the name of the episode though.
Star Trek Picard episode 2 is called Maps and Legends.
Maps and Legends. Okay.
How do you think last week's podcast went?
It went pretty good. Are we filming?
Yeah, we're filming.
Okay, you can edit that out.
Okay. So how do you think last week's podcast went?
I think it went pretty good.
Lean a little more into the mic when you can.
Okay.
Right on.
Mhm.
Got a couple listeners, got a couple likes, got a couple subscribers.
Yeah, did we actually get more subscribers because of that?
No, Bubby subscribed.
Because of it?
Yeah.
Yay, Bubby subscribed. Remember when I mentioned Bubby in the last video?
I do. Okay.
I was talking to Weird, by the way. Okay.
We're going for a subscribe from Uncle Jimmy this time though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, Picard, Season 1, Episode 2, Maps and Legends.
Mm-hmm.
A synth unit goes to work and tries to get jokes with workers, and the workers talk about how they are not people. We see a ship take off and food replicated, and then the synth seems to be activated and reroutes the computer, and then we see the destruction of Mars. The synth kills everyone in the room, then himself. Can you talk about the synth unit's eyes?
Synth unit's eyes, like, they fluttered some way. There was like, I feel like the person who built it, we're going to get into this later, but I feel like the person who built it, my mom has a different theory, but I feel like the person who built it, that synthetic, was very, like, evil and made it go rogue at the perfect time.
I will now give you Mom's theory. She said someone hacked them. So you think no, you don't?
I definitely think the person with the person who built it was rogue in Starfleet and made the synthetic go rogue at the right time, at the right place, where he can hack into the motherboard and just hack into all the other synthetics and destroy Mars. And as I said in the last one, Mars was still burning to that day. I might mention that in every podcast.
All right, so are you ready to move on to the next scene?
Yep.
We're at the Picard study in France at Chateau Picard. Picard, Saban, and Laris go over Dahj's death. They all suspect the Tal Shiar, the Romulan secret police. Lars thinks it was the Zhat Vash. Saban says that is a Tal Shiar myth and they're older, and the biggest secret is their hatred for all AI and synthetic life forms. We also find out that Saban and Laris are Picard's bodyguards. Also, I love Captain Picard's sweater.
I didn't write this down either.
They dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. But we got some talking about that. So they transport themselves to Dahj's apartment where, as we said in the last video, her boyfriend gets murdered, but they didn't show all that blood. It got completely wiped out by something. The Zhat Vash, I guess.
Josh has explained kind of like the Illuminati. They hate AI. Now, you said the whole scene in Dahj's apartment is deep.
No, not in Dahj's apartment. In that whole entire first scene. Not just Dahj's apartment and back at the study.
Okay, so now we're in the Borg cube. Soji and Narek are hanging out and talking. I don't like this Romulan, but they talk about how this Borg cube is no longer connected to the Borg. There are still Borg on the cube, though.
Yeah, I don't trust him, but I told Mommy to write that down later. But she did write it down later, and why I don't like him.
At Chateau Picard, we find out that Soji is not on Earth, so Picard needs a ship. He gets a visit from a doctor and an old friend who lets Picard know he is sick and shouldn't be allowed to go to space, but gives Picard the all clear anyway because he's an old friend. You think Picard's going to die from that?
No, I don't think that. But the doctor said before you get to space, if you're lucky enough, it'll let you die. It'll kill you.
In a bad meeting with more cursing, Picard is denied his reinstatement request. He also let Starfleet know his whole theory about Bruce Maddox. Starfleet is not what it used to be.
Yep, I completely agree.
On the Borg cube, it is clear that the bad Romulan Narek is working there or is the new boss and watches Soji remove Borg implants, which I thought was gross. What do you think of that? Do you remember them taking the Borg implants out of the Borgs?
Oh, yeah, that was getting with their brains sticking out of their body. And I like when he said, the person who told them what to do in the gray zone, if you see your thing blink green, run.
Mommy wanted me to point out that the OSHA sign for on the Borg cube, this Borg ship has gone 5,843 days without an assimilation. That's a pretty good record, guys. Keep it up. Hashtag OSHA. Okay, so you had a question about Narek the Romulan.
What?
And his permission from the reclamation director to see Soji work on the Borg.
I thought that, like, when he said, I don't need permission, I just feel like, I know Soji and her, and she, just like me, were like, what?
Yeah, like he's there automatically out of nowhere, right? Like he
Mhm.
said, he doesn't need permission. So it says here that you didn't like the way that that Narek was able to just watch her work and didn't have to get permission to go on.
No, like, I was freaked out when he said, I don't need permission. I was like, what? You're new here.
Back at Chateau Picard, Dr. Jurati visits Picard and lets him know that whoever programmed Dahj did so perfectly to get her to the institute and he was right. Picard goes to see an old friend we have never met named Raffi, presumably to get a ship. Did you see her at the end?
Yeah, and she said, got the 86. And then she said, I'm going to change the language since I can't say it. She poured out her drink, and Picard was walking like this. There are Romulan assassins on Earth. Got the 86. Dang it.
Okay, I'm glad. I hope the microphone picked that up.
Yeah. Me too. I hope it did.
We got one last section here. The last thing we see is Commodore O at Starfleet talk to Lieutenant Rizzo. They are both in on the evil plot. The Commodore wants to know about Dahj's twin Soji, and Lieutenant Rizzo, who is actually a Romulan disguised as a Vulcan, has her best man and brother, Narek, on the job. Rizzo lets Narek know that there will be bad consequences if he doesn't get the results she is looking for. So the plot twist, Starfleet's in on it. We got some Starfleet or some fake Romulans.
This is my tiny mind. I knew Derek is evil. He's trying to find out. They say that's not me. Where the rest of, I guess, the abominations are. But they aren't abomination. They're just synthetics. Oh, right. He's a Zhat Vash. He probably hates synthetics.
So was your mind blown? You have to say it.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you want to say about this last episode of Picard?
I liked it.
If you're watching on the YouTube channel, do us a favor.
Like us in the comments and make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Yay!
All right, everybody. See you next week.
And